The underestimated Relic. The vast chamber of the Galactic Alliance Council gleamed with polished surfaces and advanced technology. Light danced across crystalline structures that housed alien diplomats from 100 worlds. Captain Maya Chen of the Earth vessel, Defiant, stood alone at the center of the floor, her back straight, face composed despite the whispers and occasional laughter that rippled through the assembly. The Terran Confederation offers the Defiant for active duty in the defense fleet, Maya announced, her voice clear and unwavering. Silence fell for 3 heartbeats before Ambassador Vexorn of the Medusan Collective rose from his hovering platform. His translucent skin pulsed with bioluminescent patterns of amusement and disbelief. "Captain Chen," he began, his translator converting complex harmonic tones into standard. "We appreciate Earth's enthusiasm. But surely you understand that this is not a symbolic exercise. The Void Swarm approaches our borders with unprecedented numbers." From another section, a Talaxian representative chittered loudly. "My scanners indicate your vessel was constructed over 70 Earth years ago. It belongs in a museum, not a battle line." More laughter followed. Maya remained motionless, though her first officer, Commander Raj Patel, shifted uncomfortably beside her. High Admiral Kavrath of the Arcturian Empire, the most advanced military power in the Alliance, studied a holographic display of the Defiant floating before him. The ship looked painfully outdated compared to the sleek vessels that composed the rest of the fleet. Its hull was scared, its design utilitarian rather than elegant. "Captain Chen," Kavrath rumbled, his voice like stones grinding together, "your vessel still employs fusion drives and physical projectile weapons. Our intelligence suggests you haven't even upgraded to quantum shielding or neural interfaces." He gestured dismissively. "The Void Swarm's organic ships would absorb your primitive firepower without noticing." Maya nodded once. "We are aware of our technological limitations, Admiral. Nevertheless, the Defiant stands ready to serve." Ambassador Talora of the Elysian Republic, known for her diplomatic nature, attempted kindness. Perhaps the human vessel could serve in a support capacity. Far from the front lines, of course. Perhaps coordinating civilian evacuations. The suggestion was immediately seized upon by the others, who seemed relieved to find a role that wouldn't require them to rely on the ancient human warship. "A sensible compromise," declared High Admiral Kavrath. "The Defiant will be assigned to monitoring station Delta 9, 20 light minutes from the projected engagement zone. You will maintain communications and record the battle for historical purposes." Maya bowed slightly. "As the Admiral commands." As the Council moved on to discuss the positioning of the Arcturian dreadnoughts and Medusan bioships, Maya and Raj retreated to a side corridor. "They don't even try to hide their contempt," Raj muttered when they were alone. Maya's tight expression finally relaxed into a small smile. "Good. Underestimation is our greatest advantage." "Operation Phoenix remains classified," Raj asked quietly. Maya nodded. "Earth Command confirmed this morning. No one outside our crew knows what the Defiant really is." She glanced back toward the council chamber. "Let them laugh while they can." The Defiant hung in space like an ancient relic compared to the gleaming vessels of the Alliance fleet. From a distance, its hull looked weathered, its lines inelegant and functional. Inside engineering, however, Chief Engineer Lexi Novak was anything but idle. "Quantum core stable at 30%, she reported, her fingers dancing across controls hidden beneath ordinary-looking panels. Metamaterial shields in standby mode. Around her, engineering crew worked with practiced efficiency, maintaining the careful illusion of an outdated engine room while secretly preparing systems that shouldn't exist on a 70-year-old warship. On the bridge, Maya studied the tactical display showing the assembled Alliance fleet. Over 200 vessels representing the most advanced technology from 24 species. The Defiant had been positioned exactly where the Admiral had ordered, monitoring station Delta 9, far from the expected battle zone. "Status report," Maya ordered. "All conventional systems operating at standard capacity," Raj replied loudly, "for the benefit of any monitoring communications." Then, barely audible. Phoenix protocols active. Adaptive systems ready. Maya nodded. Keep our power signature consistent with our supposed capabilities. We don't move until it's time. Lieutenant Zoe Garcia at Communications suddenly straightened. Captain, priority alert from Alliance Command. The Void Swarm has appeared at the outer marker. They're moving faster than predicted. The main screen shifted to show the approaching enemy. The Void Swarm vessels resembled massive dark clouds with occasional pulses of sickly green energy. They moved without apparent propulsion, flowing through space like ink through water. There are so many, whispered Ensign Taylor at navigation. Alliance fleet is moving to intercept, Garcia reported. Admiral Kavrath is ordering battle groups into defensive formation Alpha. Maya watched as the magnificent alien vessels moved with precision. The Arcturian dreadnoughts formed the center line, their quantum cannons already charging. The Medusan bioships created a fluid pattern around the flanks, their organic weapons pulsing with energy. Elysian cruisers took up support positions, their crystalline hulls gleaming. They're beautiful, Raj admitted. Yes, Maya agreed, but beauty doesn't win wars. The first contact between the Alliance fleet and the Void Swarm unfolded on their screens. The Alliance opened with a coordinated barrage. Quantum beams, plasma torpedoes, and psychic attacks all focused on the leading edge of the swarm. For a moment, it seemed the attack had worked. Several void entities dispersed into emptiness. But then the swarm adapted. The dark masses began absorbing energy weapons, growing larger with each blast. Plasma torpedoes disappeared into their depths without effect. They're feeding on the energy attacks, Lexi reported from engineering, watching the same feed, just as Earth intelligence predicted. Within minutes, the carefully orchestrated Alliance attack had become chaos. 3 Elysian cruisers vanished in dark explosions as void tendrils wrapped around their hulls. A Medusan bioship was turned inside out, its organic technology corrupted and subverted. Alliance Command is ordering a strategic withdrawal, Garcia reported, her voice tight. The Arcturian flagship has taken critical damage. The comm system suddenly crackled with a direct transmission from Admiral Kavrath himself. His usually composed face was streaked with blue blood from a head wound. All vessels, fall back to secondary positions, he ordered. Our primary weapons are ineffective. I repeat, energy-based offensive systems are being absorbed and amplified against us. Behind him, his bridge was filled with smoke and flashing emergency lights. Admiral, Maya responded, request permission to advance to support position. Kavrath's eyes narrowed. Denied, defiant. Maintain your observation post. Your outdated vessel would be destroyed instantly. Maya exchanged glances with Raj. Sir, with respect, we may be able to. That's an order, Captain Chen. Kavrath barked before the transmission cut off abruptly. The tactical display showed Alliance vessels attempting to regroup, but the Void Swarm was splitting into smaller units, surrounding and isolating the retreating ships. The elegant battle plan was collapsing. Captain, Zoe reported grimly, I'm picking up distress calls from 17 Alliance vessels. The Arcturian flagship has gone silent. Maya stood, her decision made. Helm, plot intercept course to the center of the engagement. Maximum conventional speed. Captain, Raj said quietly, Admiral Kavrath directly ordered us to remain at our post. I know. Maya looked at her crew, meeting each of their eyes in turn. They had trained for this moment for years. But sometimes, you have to disobey orders to fulfill your true mission. She opened the ship-wide comm. All hands, this is the captain. Battle stations. Initiate Phoenix protocol. Throughout the ship, hidden panels slid open. Systems that had remained dormant hummed to life. The old vessel seemed to shudder as though awakening from a long sleep. In engineering, Lexi released the safeties on the quantum core. Quantum core advancing to 60%. Adaptive shielding online. On the bridge, the conventional screens flickered and transformed, revealing advanced displays that had been concealed beneath. Phoenix systems online, Raj confirmed. Hull configuration beginning. Outside, observers would have seen the Defiant's scarred hull begin to shift and change as microscopic nanomachines activated, transforming the seemingly antiquated exterior into something entirely different. Weapons officer, prepare all systems, Maya ordered, but hold fire until my command. Lieutenant Commander Jackson at the weapons station nodded. Rail cannons charged, adaptive munitions ready. Incoming transmission from Alliance Command, Zoe reported. They're ordering us to return to our assigned position immediately. Maya settled into her command chair. No response, Lieutenant. Cut all standard communications. We operate on Phoenix protocols now. The Defiant accelerated toward the heart of the battle, where the Void Swarm was systematically dismantling the most advanced fleet ever assembled by the Galactic Alliance. Time to show them what an outdated human warship can really do, Maya said quietly. Helm, take us in. Awakening of the Phoenix. Across the command decks of the surviving Alliance vessels, alarms sounded as sensors detected the Defiant breaking formation and accelerating toward the battle. The humans have lost their minds, growled Commander Trazix of the Medusan support vessel. They're committing suicide. On the bridge of the Elysian cruiser Eternal Light, Captain Sarella watched with a mixture of pity and admiration. They're either fools or heroes, she murmured. Admiral Kavrath, his flagship listing badly with multiple systems failing, pounded his armored fist on his command console. Order that primitive vessel to retreat immediately, he roared. When no response came, he added bitterly, their deaths accomplish nothing. The Void Swarm, having decimated nearly a third of the Alliance fleet, noticed the approaching human vessel. Several smaller Void entities detached from the main mass and moved to intercept. Inside the Defiant, Maya stood resolute. Status of Phoenix transformation. 87% complete, Raj reported. Hull reconfiguration advancing. For those watching, the Defiant's appearance was changing dramatically. The seemingly old metal plating rippled and flowed as billions of nanomachines reconstructed the exterior. What had appeared to be rust and battle scars reorganized into complex adaptive patterns. Void intercept units approaching, Lieutenant Commander Jackson warned. Impact in 40 seconds. Maya nodded calmly. Lexi, bring the quantum core to full power. Disengage all camouflage systems. Aye, Captain. Quantum core at 100%. All Phoenix systems online and unrestricted. The Defiant suddenly blazed with light as its true nature was revealed. The power signature that had been carefully disguised for years now radiated across all sensors. What had seemed an antiquated fusion reactor was actually a quantum singularity core. Technology the Alliance believed was still theoretical. What in the seven moons? Captain Sarella gasped as her sensors registered the change. The first Void entity reached the Defiant, extending dark tendrils to envelop the ship as it had done to so many Alliance vessels. The tentacles touched the hull and immediately recoiled as if burned. Adaptive hull responding, Raj reported with satisfaction. Molecular reconfiguration countering Void corruption attempts. Fire rail cannons, continuous barrage, Maya ordered. From what had appeared to be conventional cannon ports, streams of hyper-accelerated particles erupted. Unlike the energy weapons the Void Swarm had been absorbing, these were physical projectiles, but unlike any railgun technology the Alliance had seen. Each projectile shifted its molecular structure mid-flight, adapting to the Void entity's changing defense patterns. The dark mass of the Void entity shuddered and then collapsed in on itself. Direct hit, Jackson confirmed. Target neutralized. Throughout the Alliance fleet, stunned silence fell as officers watched their sensor readings in disbelief. How is this possible? Kavrath demanded. That vessel's weapons shouldn't be capable of. Admiral, his science officer interrupted. I'm detecting technology signatures that don't match any known Terran capabilities. The Defiant appears to be utilizing adaptive nanotechnology, And, sir, they have a functioning quantum singularity drive. Kivrath's eyes widened. Impossible. The humans are centuries behind such technology. Apparently not, sir. As the Defiant cut through the Void Swarm's outer defenses, Maya opened a channel to the remaining Alliance vessels. This is Captain Chen of the Earth vessel Defiant. We've developed weapons specifically designed to counter the Void Swarm's adaptive capabilities. Follow our lead and target the coordinates we're transmitting. She nodded to Raj, who sent tactical data to the Alliance fleet. Our apparent technological limitations were a deception. Maya continued. Operation Phoenix has been in development for 15 years, ever since our long-range probes first detected the Void Swarm. While you built bigger energy weapons, we developed counter-adaptive systems. On the Arcturian flagship, Kivrath received the tactical data with growing astonishment. They knew, he murmured. They knew energy weapons would be useless and built alternatives. Maya's voice continued. The void entities absorb energy, but are vulnerable to constantly shifting physical attacks. Our railguns fire projectiles that reconfigure their molecular structure every microsecond, preventing the swarm from adapting. Targeting data received, reported Captain Cyrella. But none of our vessels are equipped with such weapons. Secondary data packet includes emergency modifications for your existing systems, Maya replied. Chief Engineer Novak has designed adaptations that can be applied to standard torpedo casings. It's not perfect, but it will help. Across the Alliance fleet, engineering teams scrambled to implement the unexpected modifications. Meanwhile, the Defiant continued its advance, cutting a path through the smaller void entities. Its hull rippled and shifted constantly, negating the corruption effect that had crippled so many Alliance vessels. The main swarm is altering course, Jackson reported. They're converging on us. Maya nodded grimly. They've identified us as the primary threat. Exactly as we hoped. Lexi's voice came over the comm from engineering. Captain, the adaptive hull is functioning beyond expectations, but it has limits. Sustained contact with multiple void entities will eventually overwhelm it. Understood. We just need to hold their attention long enough. Maya turned to Raj. Status of the Alliance fleet. 23 vessels report successful weapon modifications. They're forming up behind us, using our path through the swarm. The main tactical display showed the massive central mass of the Void Swarm, a roiling darkness larger than most moons, moving directly toward the Defiant. That's the control node, Maya said, pointing to patterns of energy flowing from the central mass to the smaller entities. All void entities are connected to it. Destroy it, and the rest should lose cohesion. Kivrath's voice came through the comm. Captain Chen, the Alliance fleet is at your disposal. What are your orders? The question, from an admiral to a captain, spoke volumes about how quickly the situation had changed. Form a spearhead formation, Maya replied without hesitation. The Defiant will lead. Concentrate modified weapons on these coordinates. She indicated key points around the central void mass. We need to create vulnerabilities for the main strike. And what will that be? Kivrath asked. Maya's expression was resolute. The Defiant carries a quantum singularity weapon. Once your strikes create an opening, we'll deliver it directly to the control node center. Silence followed her words. Such a weapon's existence violates 17 Alliance treaties, Kivrath finally said. Which is why we never mentioned it, Maya replied simply. You can court-martial me later, Admiral, if we survive. The Alliance vessels that could still fight formed up behind the Defiant, following the path it cut through the Void Swarm. Ships that had been arrogantly displaying their advanced technology now humbly followed the human vessel they had mocked hours earlier. Approaching firing range for Alliance vessels, Raj reported. Maya opened the fleet-wide channel. All ships, commence firing on designated coordinates on my mark. She paused, then, mark. Modified torpedoes and hastily reconfigured weapons struck the central void mass simultaneously. The dark substance writhed and pulsed, attempting to adapt but struggling against the constantly changing attack patterns. "It's working," Jackson announced. "Sensors detect destabilization at target points Alpha through Delta. Void entities are breaking off from the main mass." Zoe added. "They appear disoriented." Maya leaned forward. "This is our window. Helm, maximum speed. Take us directly into the center." "Captain," Raj said quietly, "delivering the quantum weapon at that range means—" "I know what it means, Commander." Maya met his eyes steadily. "Evacuation protocols for all non-essential personnel. The rest is volunteer only." Raj straightened. "No need for volunteers, Captain. We all knew what we signed up for." Throughout the ship, crew members made split-second decisions. A few rushed to escape pods. Most remained at their stations. The Defiant accelerated toward the weakened points in the central void mass, its adaptive hull glowing with the strain of resisting the corruption attempts. "Structural integrity at 60% and falling," Lexi reported from engineering. "The hull won't hold much longer." "It doesn't need to," Maya replied. "Prepare the quantum singularity weapon." As the Defiant penetrated the outer layers of the void mass, the ship shuddered violently. Dark tendrils slithered across the viewports, seeking entrance. "Weapon ready," Jackson confirmed. "Awaiting final authorization." Maya entered her command codes. "Authorization, Chen Phoenix Omega. Arm the weapon." A soft tone acknowledged the command as the ship's systems transferred power to the device that had been hidden at the Defiant's core since its supposed museum restoration years ago. "Approaching target coordinates," the navigation officer reported, her voice steady despite knowing what came next. Maya opened a final channel to the Alliance fleet. "Admiral Kavrath, once the control node is neutralized, the remaining entities should become disorganized. Strike immediately before they can reestablish connections." "Understood, Captain Chen." Kavrath's voice had lost all its earlier condescension. "The Alliance will remember the Defiant's sacrifice." "Just remember the lesson," Maya replied. "Sometimes the oldest solutions are still the best ones." She closed the channel and looked at her bridge crew. "It has been my highest honor to serve with you all." The Defiant plunged into the heart of the Void control node, its hull finally giving way to the corruption. Dark tendrils penetrated the ship. Systems failed, and lights flickered. "Detonation in 5 seconds," Jackson announced calmly. Maya closed her eyes. For Earth. At the center of the massive void entity, a pinpoint of brilliant light appeared, then expanded in a perfect sphere of energy, unlike anything the Alliance had ever witnessed. The quantum singularity weapon didn't simply destroy the void control node, it folded spacetime around it, creating a temporary micro-singularity that consumed the entity from within. The explosion rippled outward, consuming the central mass completely. Throughout the battlefield, the smaller void entities suddenly stopped moving, their controlling intelligence gone. On the Alliance vessels, stunned silence gave way to realization. The monitors showed no trace of the Defiant, but also no trace of the void control node. "All ships," Kavrath ordered, his voice subdued, "neutralize the remaining void entities while they're disorganized." The cleanup operation was almost anticlimactic. Without their central intelligence, the void entities offered little resistance. Hours later, as the damaged Alliance fleet regrouped, a small object was detected drifting among the debris. "Single life pod," reported an Elysian sensor operator. "Human design." When the pod was recovered, its sole occupant was a junior engineering technician, barely out of training. She carried a data core containing complete specifications for the Phoenix systems, adaptive hull technology, reconfiguring railguns, and counter-void defensive measures, but not the quantum singularity weapons designs. Those had been deliberately destroyed with the Defiant. In the Alliance Council chamber, now somber and humbled, Admiral Kavrath addressed the gathered representatives. "Today we learned that technological advancement does not always mean effectiveness. The humans, whom we dismissed as primitive, understood something we did not. that sometimes adaptation is more powerful than raw strength. He gestured to the young engineer who stood nervously where Captain Chen had once stood. The Terran Confederation has offered to share certain defensive technologies with the Alliance. In return, they ask only for respect, not as supplicants, but as equals. Ambassador Vexorn, who had laughed at Maya Chen days earlier, rose from his platform. I move that we establish a permanent memorial to the Defiant and her crew, and that we create a new Alliance protocol, that no member's contribution be judged by appearances alone. The motion passed unanimously. In Earth's orbital shipyards, construction had already begun on 3 new vessels. Like the Defiant, they appeared unremarkable from the outside, deliberately old-fashioned and utilitarian. But within their hulls, Phoenix technology waited, ready to adapt to whatever threats the galaxy might hold. Humanity had learned long ago that sometimes the best place to hide strength was behind an appearance of weakness. The Alliance had learned this lesson too, at terrible cost. But they would not forget it again.